Hi everyone, I'm Nadia, and in today's video, I'm making Halloween resin coasters. I'm super excited for this video, although Halloween in Croatia isn't really a big deal, but growing up in America, I've always loved Halloween, so these were really fun for me to make. After mixing my part A and part B resin together well for 3 to 4 minutes, I'm pouring some into a smaller cup where I'll be adding in my white pigment. And I'm using Just Resin's pigment paste in the shade Titanium White. With a wooden stick, I mix the pigment in the container before I take a small amount and add it into my cup of resin. I'm going to be using some grass for these coasters, and they come in rather big clumps, so I'm just taking some out and I'm going to be separating them into smaller pieces. Now I start to pour my clear resin into my molds, and I'm doing my best to make sure that there's an even amount of resin in each mold. Then I'm using my torch gun to pop any air bubbles, and I'm moving it very quickly not to burn my resin or my molds. With tweezers, I add the grass into the bottom of the molds. And I'm using a wooden stick to push the grass down into the resin. Then I take my white pigmented resin, and with a wooden stick, I'm dragging the pigment through the resin to create the shape of clouds. I'll have Amazon affiliate links in the description, so if you're interested in purchasing any of these products that you see in this video, be sure to check that out. I used the torch gun once more, and now I'm going to be adding in a gray color into the clouds. So I pour some of the white pigmented resin into an old used cup, and I'm going to be adding in Deppon's Nighthawk Black Pearl. I add a little bit, mix it together, and with a wooden stick, apply it into the molds. And now I'm going to be adding in some broken pieces of mirror. I take some into the palm of my hand and sprinkle them where the grass is. I'm going to set that aside for a couple of hours to allow the resin to become tacky, and in the meantime I'm going to be cutting out some sketches that I printed. Using Liquitex acrylic paint, I paint in the sketches. I did manage to get resin onto my paintbrush in the past, so it's not ideal because the bristles have hardened, but I do my best. And using a gold gloss paint marker, I decided to outline the sketches as well. And this next step is very important. I'm going to be using Art Podge or Mod Podge to seal the paper so that the resin doesn't seep through and cause discoloration. I add a layer of the Art Podge onto both sides and allow it to dry. And here they are after they're all dry and ready to be placed into the molds. And I'll be using tweezers to do so. Once it's placed into the mold, I use a wooden stick to slightly push it down so that no parts are sticking up. I ended up cutting off one of the branches from the bat sketch so that it would fit into the coaster mold. And here I am the next day demolding them. And immediately after I demold them, I'm going to be using an X-Acto knife to carefully trim off the edges. You can also sand the edges instead and find a method that works best for you. My next step is to add liquid latex onto the back side of the coasters, and I'm pouring it out of a cup near the edges of the coasters. And I use a makeup brush to spread it to the edges. I'm doing this to protect the back side of my coasters while I'm doing my top coat, because I am doing my top coat out of a mold, so resin can flow over and cure onto the bottom side. I have this extra coaster that I'm coating as well, just in case if I have any extra resin while I'm top coating. I use Resin by Depon. You can find more exact information on my Instagram, Summer Girl Designs. I also have a discount code that can be used. It sometimes changes, but as of now the code is Summer Girl to save 10% on 40 euros or more. Once I pour the resin onto my coasters, I use that same makeup brush I used previously to spread the resin to the edges of the coasters. And this time I tried to add my top coat pretty thick to be able to cover some of the grass on the bottom that's sticking up. So I didn't have enough resin to top coat the extra coaster, but I'll top coat it another time. And the next day I'm able to remove the liquid latex. And now I'll be adding a gold trim. And here's the final product. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Follow me on my Instagram, Summer Girl Designs, and my mom's Instagram, Wild Heart Resin Art.